All right, guys, so I wanted to talk about, I guess I could do it all in one video. Donald Trump's speech at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. There's a lot of protesting going on over there. Shout out to Nick Shirley. I was watching his shit. So he's a brave white American young man. He has about 700K on his channel. He was at the LA riots by himself. And by then he already had a following. A lot of people knew him as a conservative Christian, and he's white, so they just quick to say you're racist. Shout out to him. Trump, some things that stood out. He's asking the European nations to stop buying oil, our so-called allies to stop buying oil from Russia, stop funding their war. It makes me think, I can see people saying, well, stop funding the war against Israel, with Israel against Gaza. So Trump brings that up against the EU. He talks about China. He mentioned something about the unintelligent, or he used the word, I forgot what he said. It's in my notes, the phone that I'm using here to record myself. He brought up the idea about China and the irresponsible care of these laboratory experiments, the internal experiments that they let out, COVID, the China virus. He spoke about open borders and how it's ruining the European nations, in which it is, man. It's ruining it. It's ruining the, if you see videos on YouTube, of course, it's like, no, there's a middle ground. There is a middle ground. There is a mean, or maybe a median. Not a mean, there's a median. But it's going to cause trouble because your poor people that are natives, or they're nationals in your country, are going to get embittered by seeing these immigrants selling shit above the law. And, well, their citizens, because of what you taught them in your country, don't have that same self-belief, or a lot of it's survival. A lot of it's community. You see these people from Africa and places in Europe, Spain and London and Greece. Even in France, you see them selling these souvenirs, and they're being called scammers. There's a lot of scammers, and there's African scammers right now. Shout out to Nick Shirley. He went to, it's called Canal Street, where they sell fake shit, and these fucking American women are going over there to buy it, It's like a sign of capitalism. Like, as long as it looks like it doesn't have to be the legit thing, And this one guy said he makes $20,000 a month, and so it's like someone like me who's doesn't even have his own house, has a girlfriend, she lets me stay there, have my folks, they let me stay there, have a daughter I don't see, and we get embittered because of this society that we live in doesn't create strong people, like morally, with values and ethics and virtue. But you allow these immigrants to come in and you help them and you give them all this support. And there's all these support systems, even within college. There's something called the care program for women. As long as they're single and they have children, they get help. There's like first generation programs. There's even programs for people who've been locked up, and I benefit from those programs. But what about something like a fucking program for people who are getting good grades, right? Or dads that see their kid and there's proof that they want to go see their kid and they haven't seen their kid for a while. Those programs for gay people. It's like there's more programs for these people, but there's no programs for second, third, fourth, fifth generation. So when Trump is speaking about this, I don't know if he's ever really thought about this, or if he just really wants to throw it out there like, it's just a speech if you really think about it. And they're already there as part of the nobility, so it's like, I guess you have to say that for the people who represented you, but sometimes it seems genuine. He says, you guys got to care about your citizens first. Again, I was trying to watch this and trying to find something to go against Trump. I really was. I was really looking for something to, like, not really like him anymore, right? Because after the dust settles and the whole MAGA, it's like, hopefully they still have objectives there to continue. Stop giving money to these immigrants, how fucking Biden did. Fuck Biden. Give it to our homeless veterans. Make some better programs for people. Keep trying to bring, because gas seems like it's going up a little more. Just seem to be like still kind of high. And it's stable, you would say. It's not going to fucking keep going up and up, but $4 a gallon. I mean, the value of the dollar has went down for sure. But it's like, is it going to be there forever? Until we eliminate the dollar and we go to some fucking digital currency, some world universal currency? I don't think so. I mean, someone say that maybe Russia and China are stopping maybe some of these fucking globalists from trying to create this one world order. Because in order to do that, you're gonna have to be cool with the Chinese, with the Caucasian Russian people. All continents are gonna have to come together. The African people, but I think the world's still too divided to have this one world order. I really do. So, in Trump's speeches, what else stood out? The border. It's like woke ideology, open borders, Christian values. So I wanted to make a separate video, but let me talk about this. If you have rich people claiming Christian values, it's still good. You actually want that. You want them. I know, let them be rich, let them virtue signal. But as long as rich people still have Christian values, you could not expect them to want to have famine and want to fucking really not give a fuck about the people, honestly. As long as, like, dude, for them to be wanting to talk about Christian values is fucking good. Despite Trump's past, you want to use his past against him. I want to bring up all the fucked up shit he's done. As long as he is trying to get right with his spirit and with the Christian God, from the Christian teaching and what it teaches, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Pushing for families, pushing for people to be better fathers, and not saying they're doing as much as they should. I think they should. Is there like a sick underlying thing where we don't want everybody to be fucking conservative? We don't need everybody. Well, why not? Maybe maybe they'll have national pride in their shit. If you help people, show people some love, I think they'll reciprocate that appreciation. And I don't know. I'm gonna do another video. I'm reading Machiavelli right now. Anyway, so what else I don't want pertaining to Trump? I think that was it. I see Netanyahu's speech. I thought it was a little cringe. He had like true or false questions, or not true or false. He had like multiple choice questions. And he had like this sign with sort of red and like, I don't know. He had a sign, geographical sign of the location of him and the surrounding countries around him with the people he's going to war against. And I thought that was a little kind of cringy at first. Right away, it began with a commotion. All these people standing up clapping because more than 70% of countries that were in that room got up and walked away. And they're like against Israel. One, it just shows the power of the media. Really, it shows the power of the media. And a lot of it might have to do with leftist ideology. Really. And like, if you can't say obviously all Americans, it's a dividing topic. Not all Americans support Israel, as you can tell. So when it says, oh, America supports Israel, it's the administration that is pro-Israel. And it's not only the administration, but obviously Trump is the one in power. So the question is why? How much money is being given to America? And see, it's not given to taxpayers. It's given to that specific person's pockets, that specific politician. That lobbyist is given to that guy who ends up spending it on his family. That's money that's liquidated and he could touch. And that's what gives that person the ability to market and to propagandize and go out there and have the money invested in him to go do speeches and go talk to people and sway the voter. And that's all driven by the power of the dollar and the ability and the access that the money gives you and the resources. And so it's money going strictly to that politician. And it's like, well, he is speaking on behalf of who? The person giving him the money, but that doesn't represent everybody. So in essence, is that a democracy? Probably not. That's not really a democracy. And but remember, there's an argument: is democracy even good? Democracy creates tyranny. Not you don't. It doesn't really represent all people. It's supposed to, but not. How could it represent all people if 51% of the vote, 50%, so it only represents half of the people? Which might mean like, okay, you get a little 4 years or maybe 8, and that's it, and give the other person a chance to get some taste. And giving everybody a chance, it might lie in the power of civility. And then you give people the ability to fucking, like, these things that we're seeing are just the effects. They're the effects of like, you know, like you see this there's extreme liberalization. I don't like calling far this, but I do. I just like far left, whatever. But the extreme liberalization, it creates this. But you let the people have their, let them have their tribunes, let them have their face to their party, let them have it that represents them, and allow them to still have a voice, allow them to go protest, allow them to choose how they want to live. Allow them. And allow one side to still believe in family and marriage and woman and man and son and daughter and grandma, grandpa, and home and intelligence. It's like I feel like there's a lot of people who still want to be liberal, like when they're 40 and 50. There's a lot of immaturity there. Has to be a lot of immaturity there, and it's like you're letting children run it, and older people who just want to be cool with young people. I say children, I mean like teens, you know. There's like a dependent in that small space of energy. It's so like the catapulting era of a human's life, and that's like from 18, 19, 20, when they first get that freedom of expression or freedom of adulthood, and it's at the behest, or not even the behest, it's at the antithesis to how the future their folks wanted for them, and they finally get a little sense of freedom, and so they just burst out, you know, full of energy and belief, and, you know, even maybe vengeance or a motivation to prove people wrong, and then after, it's like you learn it, whatever occurred through that, you may it be circumstance or fortune or upbringing and environmental. Maybe you succeed, maybe you don't. Maybe you die, maybe you survive. Maybe things are just smoothly for you. Maybe things are rough, but it's all learning. And you get 40 and 50 and you start to ask yourself more, like, where can I go? That's when you start seeing things pop up, like, okay, this person, like, where do I go from here? Okay, let me, maybe I could do this. Maybe you start seeing the world a little more broadened. Some people want to be cool. Some people don't want to be legislators or fucking. You want to be free. Let people do what they want. Some people have an idea of like, no, people need instruction and laws and rules and guidance. But there could be a middle. But there has to be a balance, man. So I was reading Phaedo today by Plato. The danger of becoming misologist, he replied, which is one of the very worst things that can happen to us. For there are misanthropists or haters of men, there are also misologists or haters of ideas, and both spring from the same cause, which is ignorance of the world. Misanthropy arises from the too great confidence of inexperience. You trust a man and think him altogether true and good and faithful, and then in a little while he turns out to be false and knavish, and then another and another. And when this has happened several times to a man, especially within the circle of his most trusted friends, as he deems them, and he has often quarreled with them, he at last hates all men, and believes that no one has any good in him at all. I dare say that you must have observed this. So Socrates tells Phaedo this. Then he goes on to talk about like hater of ideas, right? A mythologist, someone who's a hater of ideas. And then you begin to just be like, oh, nothing exists and everything's relative and there's no real truth to morality and values and ethics. It's just what you want to believe in yourself, right? And then in a weird way it becomes extremely individual. Because if you don't believe in what I believe, then we can't be friends. And so Netanyahu's speaking, and he's speaking, and I start to get an idea, like, he is a small country, he does have enemies, someone did attack him. No one had a state established prior to that. It's like these two small populations, they are small comparatively to other way bigger nations, don't get along. And I see, like, if there's no talks, I mean, it doesn't make it right if Iran's not talking to the big bros aren't talking. Iran doesn't fuck with America. They don't talk to try to at least help these two countries figure this shit out. I say countries or maybe states. And it's like, Israel said they're not going to give up, not going to allow them to be established if Hamas is still around. I don't know. But again, people are making weapons. And people are getting money. But lives are lost. And imagine yourself for a second if you had that power as they have. If you really cared about people's lives that don't affect your day-to-day, aren't your family. It's just, behind closed doors, you don't think they ask these presidents of countries that have such a big influence over the world, like, you know what this is, man? It's tough decisions. But the one, like, dude, like, believe it or not, I know you have to literally say, I'm about my country. And that's the justification for closing the border and knowing that that's going to affect all these people. Getting rid of them, like, who's helping them find their families again? Or even just opening the border in time. People just come. All the women that were lost and raped, all the children that have been lost, all the people murdered by the cartels because of, maybe bad business, people being robbed and, killed. So these decisions as heads of state affect people's lives and we don't even see. I mean, Trump brings up another idea talking about energy, the Green New Scam, as he calls it. And certain countries, their electricity is so high that people are dying more than ever because of heat stroke. And those are a lot of old people. So even decisions like that, and I try to see it from just that huge, bigger perspective that it's not black and white. It's just so much more complicated. Maybe not that complicated, but there's like hundreds and millions of strings that keep this world in order. And it's fascinating. So, I don't know. Fucking bad for Netanyahu. Everybody left. So going back to my idea, like, that kind of shows, like, a lot of people aren't agreeing with America. But they all walked out on Netanyahu. That's like you choosing to be mad at the little dog instead of the big dog. Not to say America is in charge of Israel. But then if I look at it like that, then we kind of say, well, can you blame Israel? Unless there's some fucked up 9/11 shit where Israel allowed them to come attack them just so they can have an excuse to go wipe them out. That would be fucked up, and there's no justifying that. And is that some crazy idea that's too conspiratorial? I don't think so, because politics is a crazy game. It's a crazy, and this has to do with kingdoms and ethnicities and fucking cultures and societies and money and resources and governments and ideologies. So, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but peace.